Bom dia, boa tarde, boa noite, or whatever the case may be. My name is Marcus, and I am the host of the Black Brazil Today YouTube channel, as well as the blackbraziltoday.com blog, where I analyze Brazil from the perspective of race. So today is actually like the part three of a series and a situations that I've been following for a little bit more than a week now. I had already done an introduction video, and then I followed it up with more information that I had gathered. Now, as of Sunday, some more information had been released, so I definitely wanted to share the latest information on this story. 23-year-old woman suspected of being involved in death of Jamaican-American tourist is arrested in Rio de Janeiro. So as I said, this has to do with the case that I presented a few days ago, or actually I think it was last week when I presented the first part of this story. Jamaican-American businessman was in Rio, apparently for tourist purposes. I'm not sure. His body was found the next day. He had just arrived in Rio with a friend, and I guess they had met a few ladies at a bar or a club or something. And the next thing you know, he was found lifeless. So if you want to know more about the intro to this story, because I said this is part three, definitely check out part one and part two of this series. I'm quite sure there's still more information to come, but look, for now, let's just get into this update, which is this news that just broke in Rio a few days ago. So, besides the fact that the tourist was found dead in Rio de Janeiro in an apartment where he was apparently staying, and the women who were shown on a video, riding away in a car, it suggested foul play might have been involved in this situation. There is a notorious type of scam in Brazil that's called Boa Noite Cinderella, which means Good Night Cinderella, where somebody slips something in somebody's drink. And in this case, one of the guys lost his life over this. And then another one of the guys seemed like he was drugged as well. He was a little bit confused, but he survived. I don't know much about where that guy is. It would be great to talk to him to find out what else he might know. But I would say he is probably not talking to the media now, as this tragedy is still being investigated. The other thing to point out is that there were at least two women involved in this situation. There were two women on camera. One of them I'm talking about today. The other one seems to still be at large. Nobody knows her name, what she looks like, her whereabouts. So hopefully that story comes up, and I will definitely cover that when I find out more information. So with that, let's get into the story and the details. Leticia Clara Bento da Silva, 23, shown in this picture, surrendered to the 14th precinct in the Leblon Rio district of Rio de Janeiro in the South Zone. On Monday, she was temporarily arrested by the court on suspicion of involvement in the death of 43-year-old Jamaican Dwayne Antonio Morris, which occurred on the 8th. The tourist, an American citizen of Jamaican origin, was found dead in an apartment in Copacabana where he was staying. The investigation by the Capital Homicide Office, with the support of the Tourist Service Office, revealed that the tourist was a victim of the Goodnight Cinderella scam, in addition to having his belongings stolen. An arrest warrant for robbery followed by death was issued by the 40th Criminal Court of the capital against Leticia Clara. During the investigations, the police identified that she was accompanied by an unidentified accomplice. After turning herself in at the 14th precinct, the woman was transferred to DHC, the specialist responsible for the case, and will be sent to the prison system. On Monday, Gisky Denuncia released a poster asking for information to help locate Leticia Clara. Gisky Denuncia is just like a hotline that people can, call and, offer tips to, security forces, police. According to an investigation, the suspect may have victimized Morris with the infamous scam known as Buon Notte Cinderella, meaning Good Night Cinderella. After being drugged, the victim went into convulsions and foamed at the mouth. The police were called, but Dwayne's body was already lifeless. The man arrived in Brazil the day before. Shortly before the death happened, between the night of the 7th and the dawn of the 8th, the victim and a friend met Leticia Clara and another woman still unidentified in Lapa in Rio's downtown region. The four of them were at a kiosk in Leme in the South Zone, and then went to the apartment where the men were staying in Copacabana. The two tourists allegedly drank alcohol mixed with an as yet unidentified substance and thus fell for the scam. Upon arriving at the property, only Dwayne entered the apartment on Rua Budiois de Carvalho, accompanied by the two women, while his friend, who was not feeling well, went elsewhere. Okay, this is Dwayne Antonio Morris, the Jamaican-American whose body was found last week. Condolences definitely to the family. At about 3 p.m., the body of the Jamaican tourist was found on the bed of a room of the property. His belongings were taken by the women. Leticia Clara, according to the police, already has a criminal record for carrying out the same crime several times. Tamitha Richmond, Morris's widow, believes there are possibly other people involved in her husband's death. Let's see. The family of Mr. Morris is deeply shaken by his loss and is closely following the progress of the investigations through their technical defense, said attorney, was that Nathan Dueck, who represents the victims' relatives in Brazil. We are grateful for the progress made in the investigation and commend the work of law enforcement so far. However, at this point, we have more questions than answers, and it was clear that more people were involved. We remain hopeful that all those responsible will be brought to justice and that all of our questions will finally be answered, Tamitha said. Morris's family members organized a fundraising campaign through the GoFundMe platform to pay for the transfer of Morris's body to Minnesota, where a funeral will be held. For the burial, Morris's body will be shipped to Jamaica, where he was originally from. These are just some security cam images of the suspect. Let me see here. This looks like the woman that they have not found yet, because the picture of the other woman looks a little bit different. A businessman based in Minneapolis, Minnesota, Dwayne managed a $14 million portfolio of businesses, which included a laundromat as well as an apparel and footwear company. According to the website of Blue Waters Consulting, the company he owned, the entrepreneur also provided financial advice. The Jamaican-American earned a degree in business management as well as an MBA, both from the Southwest Minnesota State University. Morris, who had arrived in Brazil the day before, had convulsions. Hours earlier, between the night of the 7th and the dawn of the 8th, Dwayne Morris and a friend met two women in Lapa and even went to a kiosk on Leme Beach. From there, the four went to the apartment in Copacabana where the foreigners were staying. Through an anonymous tip, Leticia Clara Bento da Silva, 23, was arrested by the civil police in Morro da Mangueira, located in the north zone of Rio de Janeiro. Da Silva was in the victim's apartment along with another unidentified woman. New images trace the path of the two before the crime. Her image appears in the video, which allows us to see what happened minutes before they entered the apartment. So these are some images of the woman who recently turned herself in, Leticia Clara Bento da Silva. One image shows them, and you see various images. A lot of images have come out. Originally, the video that we had just showed the two Americans, the two men, and the two women showing up. They're getting out of an Uber and going inside the apartment where they stayed. Now we have video images from a whole lot of other stuff that came up. We see where they were hanging out, looks like in a bar. It looks like we see them when they were, two of a man and a woman were sitting on a bench, seated talking. We saw them get in the elevator, go up to apparently to the room. What else did we see here? It's almost like with the images that they have now, they can almost just recreate the whole scene of the crime as to what happened. Let's see. Okay, one image shows them in the bar in the Lapa district, and then there's another security cam image, a bar, a kiosk in the Leme district, and then the moment she enters the apartment, she is seen in the elevator along with the men and the other women a little before entering this tourist apartment. New images show the victim moments before the crime. The clock showed 10:07 p.m. when the tourist and a friend appear at a bar in Lapa in the downtown region of the city. Almost an hour later, Leticia, who is wearing a black blouse or a black shirt, and a friend who has not yet been identified get out of a car. After meeting the four sit at a table at a kiosk in the south zone of Rio, they talk, drink, and stay for about half an hour. After midnight, they ride in an Uber to the apartment where Morris and his friend were staying. The four of them are seen getting on an elevator together. Shortly thereafter, the victim goes off with the woman in pink. Now, I always have to say, surveillance cameras can be a great thing, but, and I know that there's ways they can probably be used in the wrong way. But in this particular case, they were able to trace almost the whole night. They traced the conversation. I'm not sure if they have images of them maybe having a few drinks at a bar, but you saw almost everything that happened from the time they met, the two men met the women, to the time they were hanging out, to the time they sat at a bench, to the time they got in the elevator, came back downstairs. So we see all of this. I think it's only going to be a matter of time before they find this other woman, hopefully soon. So this is definitely a positive aspect of having surveillance cameras, because when something like this happens, it's easier to find out what exactly went down the night in question. The two talk on the bench at the entrance and then go up again. According to the police, while they were in the apartment, Leticia and her friend probably drugged the victim and his friend in a manner typical of the Goodnight Cinderella scam. The two may have been doped with drugs mixed with drinks and robbed by the two. Nearly 2 hours later, they were seen leaving and pulling away in a black car. The vehicle left the Copacabana region at about 2:17 in the morning. It sped through the Ipanema and Leblon districts and went to the Rebouças tunnel towards the North Zone. This is another image of Leticia Clara Bento da Silva, this lady right here, the woman who turned herself in. From that point on, the car is no longer seen. Morris's body was found lifeless by his friend, and then the police were called in. Leticia was arrested on Monday in Barra da Tijuca in the west of Rio. She already had at least 3 run-ins with the police for this same crime. One of them was carried out against an English tourist in a hotel in Sao Conrado in Rio's South Zone in February of this year. The Disque Denuncia crime hotline is asking for help identifying the other woman. So there's some intriguing information that has come out. This lady right here who turned herself in was arrested and is being held probably for questioning and probably standing for a crime. They're still looking for the other lady, but she's been involved in this crime before. So say it again and again. If you're traveling overseas, you need to be careful with who you're sitting down with, who you're talking to. Keep your eyes on your drinks. You can't roll in another city, in another country like you're a local, because there's people out there basically they see a target on your back, like, we about to get him. So I said in the last video, beware, fellas, beware of women. I mean, it is what it is. A lot of other questions came to my mind that maybe are not so important, but maybe they'll come out. At this point, the guy died, but I am just kind of curious about what was going on here. Was he there on just tourist purposes? Was he there on sex tourism? Because I'm saying, it says that his wife was following the situation and the procedures of investigating this whole case. I mean, I just wonder, were him and his wife divorced? Were they together? Was he on a boys' trip? I don't know. I guess in some ways it doesn't matter. The man is no longer here, but these are just some questions that I was wondering about. It said that he has a portfolio where he manages businesses about $14 million worth in a portfolio. And I'm just wondering, I'm asking this just out of sincerity because I don't know. I'm saying he's running businesses worth $14 million in the portfolio. I just wonder why the family had to, set up a GoFundMe to get his body sent back. From what I saw in the previous story that I put out, was that they're having the body shipped back to Minnesota, and then for the burial, I guess he's supposed to be buried in his native Jamaica. Anyway, those are just some questions that came to my mind. Hopefully more of this information comes out. I will keep you all posted, because I'm curious to know if they are able to, locate the other woman that's involved in this crime. Again, it's not to tell you never to go to Brazil. I've been involved in Brazil for almost a quarter of a century now. I love hanging out in Brazil. There's so much to discover there, but you can't go there and, without knowing some things about the place that you're going to visit, you know? Anyway, take the proper precautions, definitely enjoy yourself. But again, watch your back because you could have an X on it. Anyway, what did you guys think about today's story? Drop a comment in the comment section, like this video, share this video, subscribe to the channel, click on the notification bell. And with that said, I will end this video here and request that you all come back, check out the next video that I post.